Once again, please welcome Vice President of Employee Services, Mr. John Clark.
I tell you, I get no respect. But nonetheless, we are here. Welcome to the 108th biannual opening day. First, we must acknowledge our venerable board members. We have former board president and trustee Norma Hernandez here with us today. And we have trustee Griselda Delgado. I think it only appropriate that we acknowledge the Professional Development Committee and especially the Opening Day Planning Subcommittee, because they put this event together, and as you can see, it is larger than ever before. So please give a round of applause to the Professional Development Committee. This semester, our theme is We Cultivate Change. As you look around today, note the absence of 55 employees who retired last December. We've already embarked upon a tsunami of recruitments, and we're welcoming new employees every month. We've just completed a reorganization of the district's largest division, and as you can see, ground is broken for the new Wellness Center, and soon for the Math and Science building as well. So we cultivate change because that's what makes our college a living and growing thing. On your chair, you should have found an agenda detailing the breakout session titles and room locations for when we have concluded with our keynote address. You will also find a professional development program highlights page giving you a glimpse of some of the activities that have planned for you this semester. Our Cultivating Courageous Conversations speaker series continues, as well as our new series aimed at our unparalleled classified employees preparing for advancement. We have our Faculty Summit, Educators' Tools for Student Success, coming in March, as well as training opportunities and special presentations. Please log in to My Learning Plan for more information and to register for these classes. You'll also find an evaluation card in your materials. Please be sure to take a moment to fill it out after the keynote speaker and drop it off in one of the boxes in the far corner, along with your attendance sheet. If you did not pre-register for opening day on My Learning Plan, there is still time. Please check the breakout session posters located at the entrance and attend one of the available workshops. We have a lot of workshops and a lot of new workshop topics this opening day, so please do join us. A couple of minor changes. The financial aid group will be meeting in room 345, so take note if you're with financial aid. And counseling and student support programs will be meeting in Student Union East. Now, without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce our exemplary ASO president and member of the Board of Trustees. Please give it up for Melissa Rodriguez.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa Rodriguez, and I have the incredible honor of welcoming you all on behalf of the Associated Student Organization to our Spring 2016 semester. As an ASO, we have made a lot of progress toward completing our goals, but we still have a lot of work to do in order to make textbooks more affordable and accessible for students, increase awareness of all of our wonderful campus resources, and establish a more direct route to our campus for our students living near the border. We have been able to achieve progress on these goals and work on improving student life for Southwestern College students through cooperation. It is through those interactions where we have partnered with other departments that our students and our college has benefited the most. I would like to thank those of you that have been supportive of our goals and mission thus far, and encourage everyone to join us in welcoming our students back to the semester in Welcome Week by contacting our Social Vice President, Virginia Perez Gonzalez, and signing up to volunteer for the first 2 days of school. As we transition into this new semester, I would like to warmly welcome all of the new members of our campus community, and also thank all of the staff, faculty, and administrators that have cultivated that community throughout the years. A community which now includes the new energy and ideas of the new members of our community and the dedication and spirit of those that have always been a part of it. I look forward to continuing and initiating new collaborations with all of you and making the most out of the upcoming semester. And now, if you will please join me in welcoming our wonderful Superintendent President, Dr. Melinda Nish.
Good morning, Southwestern. Good morning, 2016, here we are, and I guess back by popular demand, I have been asked to give you a brief State of the District address. Let's see if we can do that. We're going to go rapidly through these topics this morning and bring everybody up to speed on what was happening before we went on break and where we're headed this semester. So first, let's look at what we accomplished. Congratulations to all of us. We survived our first semester of the compressed calendar. We had our first January intersession. So good work, and we did a survey, and guess what? Most people are enjoying the compressed calendar, and the students seem to really like it. We also want to remind everyone, good work. We reached our enrollment target and our growth for 14-15. We had a great fall semester, and we're on track for reaching our target this year. We also want to commend everyone who has helped develop and implement the Student Equity Plan and the Triple SP Plan. That's our Student Success and Support Programs. And we have an online student education SEP that is now functioning for our students. What else have we accomplished? Well, we went fiscally independent July 1 of last year. That means you will get 2 W-2s, one from the county and one from us. We were able last year to refund the pay cut. We were also able to give a 2% salary increase. And as John Clark mentioned, we had a successful early retirement incentive, and 54 of our employees were able to take advantage of that. We also had a very, very intense year of writing our self-evaluation report, the SER for accreditation. They came, they visited, we'll talk a little bit more about that, and we did significant reorganization in the academic affairs area primarily. What else is going on? Well, last year we celebrated our joint board meeting with our Southwestern Governing Board and the Sweetwater Union High School trustees. That was the first joint meeting that has been held in a 10-year period, so we are off and running with our new relation building with our high school feeder. And our board is going to be holding their second Student Success Summit. It will be next Tuesday. Everyone is invited. It will begin at 6 p.m. and it will be a really interesting interactive exercise to look at what we have accomplished in the last year and a half and where we're going to go next. So let's turn and look at what enrollment is doing. As you can see, we've put the target and the actual numbers of enrollment for the past couple years. 2012-13, we made our target, a little bit over. 13-14, made our target, a little bit over. Last year, we made our target and nearly every bit of the growth. We were just 18 short of full growth. And so our target for this year is 15,410 full-time equivalent students. So you can see that we have been steadily moving up over the last 4 years. That's great. That means that we have more students coming. And I want to encourage you to make sure that you tell students next week there are still classes open. Encourage them to enroll in another section. This is what our spring to spring looks like, and I need to explain this because this spring was the first time we had a January session. So you can see that already our unduplicated headcount is up by over 13%. And that in part is due to that January session. And our FTS obviously are up as well due to that January session. Our number of sections is just slightly up, and our enrollment fill for our spring semester is right where it was at this time last year. Again, it's right at 80%. So again, I'm encouraging you next week, make sure that students know that there are still seats available. Encourage them to enroll in another class. Let's talk a little bit about the budget. The governor's proposed budget came out this month. The word that everyone is using is cautious. Okay, what does that mean for us? Well, there is no proposed increase in base funding. There is a proposed 2% growth across the state, but no proposed increase in the base. Last year, we got $8.5 million in one-time funding. But this year, the proposed one-time funding would only be $1 million. So that would be a decrease compared to last year. And the COLA was not what we expected. The governor's proposed COLA is 0.47%. Now, there are also proposed increases in basic skills, CTE, and open resource or free online textbooks. We don't have exactly what that would mean for Southwestern, but the governor has proposed $30 million one time for the basic skills, $248 million for CTE, and a small allocation, $5 million for the open resource. There are extra monies that are being proposed for maintenance and energy projects, which we are particularly interested in, and if the governor's proposal happens, that would mean about $4.4 million extra dollars for Southwestern for maintenance. So that's a quick look at the budget. Of course, it's going to be developing, and we'll be keeping you informed. And again, the word from the governor is cautious, and so we'll be cautiously awaiting developments in the budget. What about accreditation? Okay, this is a big year for us because last year we did that self-evaluation and had our visit. So first, thank you to everyone that worked on the self-evaluation report and the visit. I want a round of applause, and particularly for Dr. Mink-Stavanga. So, the commission met January 6th, 7th, and 8th. They have 1 month to deliver their decision, and they have told us that they're going to take the whole month, and that we should anticipate the decision by February 8th. Okay, that would be a week from next Monday. You will get that decision emailed out to you as soon as it arrives to me, and we will see what they have decided. It is going to be an energetic spring because I'm sure we're going to be looking at their decision and the recommendations and doing some work, and leading that work is going to be our Dean, Linda Gilstrap, who we're welcoming in as our new accreditation liaison officer. Congratulations to Linda. So, if you were at the exit report of the team, they gave us some commendations. Commendations for our Associated Student Organization. The students did a great job at the Student Forum. We want to thank them for that. They said we have a good program review process, that our distance education handbook is great. They applauded us for the training that we are implementing. They loved our LAS and all the support services that we give to our students, yes. They loved the library staff. They loved Crown Cove. And they were particularly appreciative of the support they got from IT and the food services. They said that they were extremely well fed. Okay. They also told us there are some areas where we need to improve, and we know that. We have got to get SLOs as a required component of our evaluations and get all of our evaluations done on time. We have got to assure that students are authenticating in all distance ed classes and that there is regular and substantive contact in all distance education courses. We have also got to look at the total cost of ownership of our physical buildings here throughout the district. And we have got to get all of those Chapter 6000 policies and procedures up to date. So we know we've got some work to do. I anticipate you're going to see those things coming in the recommendations in the final decision, and we're already working on plans to address those, and I'm sure we'll be doing some extra attention with work groups in the spring. We know that the SLO process is strong and we're strengthening it here at Southwestern. We have an AIP, or an Actionable Improvement Plan, that was in our report, and we're working on that. And some of the things that we're doing, we reinstituted our SLO points. We have 8 faculty members that have a new duty to serve as point people and resources for faculty in assisting with outcomes and assessment and program improvement. And we also have today, in your breakout sessions, 30% of all these sessions are focusing on outcomes, assessment, and program improvement. Additionally, Illumin, which is the program we've been using to house all of the SLO data, it's now going to house all of the administrative unit outcome data as well. And we are in full-blown training because we'll be using Illumin as the application for program review beginning in the fall. So a lot of work has been going on in that area. And I would like to congratulate some of our high performers. Biology, English, math, paralegal, psychology, world languages, and student affairs. Congratulations. You are consistently collecting data, assessing those outcomes, working on program improvement. You are examples to us all. Congratulations, great work. We're all going to catch up with you soon. Okay, I think that you've seen some action happening out on the corner lot. What's going on with construction? Well, I'd like to remind you that the first place that we will have completed construction is going to be in National City. You can see on the left a rendering of the new 2-story instructional building that's going up in National City. You can see from the Roosevelt Street, that's the side that the picture's taken from, that there's going to be a beautiful green space, garden area. So we're really excited about that. We anticipate that we are going to be in there for the beginning of 2018. So 2 years from now, we will be opening up that new building. And we will also be opening up a new math, science, engineering building. It's going to go, well, right next door where the pools are right now. This is going to be a beautiful dual set of buildings with that middle walkway that you can see. This will be our largest instructional increase, and we're extremely excited about this. Well, that corner lot is, yes, the dirt is being moved and the wellness center is going up, and we are anticipating that we will be in that wellness center by fall of 17. And also going up next to it will be new performing arts and cultural center, and we're hoping to be in that in 2018 as well. So we've got a couple years of intense building, and you're going to see in 17 and 18 a lot of ribbon cutting and welcoming our students and faculty and staff into some amazing new facilities. So let's see. John Clark said that we had 55 people that we celebrated their years of service, over 1,100 years of service, and they bid us adieu last semester. That means that we are saying welcome to a lot of new faces this semester. So we are welcoming 4 new counselors hired with our SSSP money. So welcome to Lainey, Antoinette, Kelly, Jeanette. And we're going to hire 4 more counselors with SSSP money and an EOPS counselor. So counseling is growing. And we are going to hire 23 tenure-track faculty off that FHP list. So this is going to be an intense semester. Let's welcome some classified professionals as well. Who do we have here? Robert Stretch, Veteran Services, Maria and Carl in Accounting, and Maisha Jackson in ISS. Welcome to them. We didn't get a picture of Gareth, but I want to welcome him too. He's joining our Small Business Development Center as a counselor. And we have a lot of new faces in administration as well. Our new Vice President of Business and Financial Affairs, Mr. Tim Flood. Our first full-time executive director for our Southwestern Foundation, Ms. Zanita Encarnacion. Otay Mesa Higher Education Center Supervisor for Operations, Ms. Christine Degano. And our new Director of Facilities, Ms. Charlotte Zalezi. And look at these three new deans. Dr. Michael Odu, Math, Science, Engineering. Mr. James Spillers, Wellness, Exercise Science, Athletics. And Dr. Jonathan King, Counseling and Student Support Services. And I am particularly happy to welcome our first ever Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, Dr. Guadalupe Corona. So we're off to a great start. I want to wish you all a great semester. And before I sit down, I would like another round of applause for one of the most amazing professional development coordinators that this district has ever seen, and that would be Ms. Janelle Williams. You did great work.
Well, good morning, Southwestern College. How are we? Good? Fantastic. Well, it's my pleasure that I get to introduce our keynote speaker this morning. And I wanted to just say that as we push forward with our agenda to cultivate inclusive environments and more equitable environments here at Southwestern, we also wanted to acknowledge the many changes that we've been hearing about this morning. People respond to change in different ways, right? And whether they're positive or negative, change brings about its own type of stress. And so one of the things that we know is laughter is one of the best remedies for stress, right? All right. So the opening day planning committee had this idea that we wanted to see if we could bring somebody who could leverage these ideas of both that can bridge the inclusion and the levity part. So we think we did a pretty good job at finding someone who could do that. Maysoon Zayed is an actress, a comedian, a disability advocate, and a writer. She is a graduate and Spring 2016 guest comedian in residence at Arizona State University. Maysoon is the co-founder and co-executive producer of the New York Arab American Comedy Festival and the Muslim Funny Fest. She was the full-time on-air contributor to Countdown with Keith Olbermann and a columnist with the Daily Beast. She most recently appeared on an Oprah Winfrey Network's In Deep Shift. I got to be careful on how I say that. 60 Minutes and the Meredith Vieira Show. And Maysoon had the #1 TED Talks for 2014. I don't know if you saw it, but it was hilarious. And if that wasn't enough, she was named one of 100 women of 2015 by BBC. Pretty impressive. As a professional comedian, Maysoon has performed in top New York clubs, which is not an easy thing to do, and has toured extensively at home and abroad. She was a headliner on the Arabs Gone Wild comedy tour and the Muslims Are Coming tour. Maysoon appeared alongside Adam Sandler in You Don't Mess with the Zohan and is the founder of Maysoon's Kids, a scholarship and wellness program for disabled refugee children. Maysoon walked in New York Fashion Week 2015 and is proud to be an ambassador for Kara Ross's Diamonds Unleashed. She was delighted to be a 2013 honoree of the United Cerebral Palsy NYC's Women Who Care Awards and is honored to sit on their planning committee. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me and give a warm round of applause for Ms. Maysoon Zayed.
Please put your hands together for Maysoon.
Hold on, kids, hold on. I'm gonna come closer to you. It's gonna be fun. Okay. Yes. Very good. Ignore the swinging mic, it's fine. Good morning, Southwestern College. Am I on? I'm that loud because I'm from Jersey. We don't even need, hello? Is this thing on? No. It's not weird, just keep dancing. All right, let's try this again. Good morning, Southwestern College. My name is Maysoon Zayed, and I am not drunk. But the doctor who delivered me was. As a result, I have cerebral palsy. Does anyone else in the house have cerebral palsy? Clap for me. I know you don't because we can't actually clap. Just scream. So cerebral palsy is a spectrum, and it manifests itself differently in every single person that has it. Basically, it's brain damage, but I make it look good. And in my case, my cerebral palsy makes me shake all the time. So I shake it, shake it, shake it like Taylor Swift. But there's a big difference. She just wants to shake, 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 whereas mine is totally involuntary. But I don't want anyone in this room to ever feel bad for me, because I got 99 problems and palsy is just one. In the oppression Olympics, I would win a gold medal. I'm female, I'm a person of color, I'm disabled, I'm Muslim, I'm Palestinian, and I live in New Jersey. If you don't feel better about yourself, maybe you should. Another reason I don't want you to feel bad for me is because at some point in your life, you have dreamt of being disabled. Oh yeah, you have. Come on a journey with me. It's Christmas Eve. You're at the mall driving around looking for parking. And what do you see? 16 empty handicap spaces. You're like, God, can't I just be a little disabled? There are other perks to being palsy. For example, I never have to stand on line. Never have to stand on line. And where, my friends, is the happiest place on earth? Let's say the greatest place on earth to not stand on line? Disneyland, right? No? You're not fans? You're a fan. Deep down inside, that place is filthy, but you know there's magic. So, as a kid, I loved going to Disneyland because I never had to stand on line. So there'd be these kids waiting to go on the Matterhorn or Space Mountain, and they'd be standing outside in the blazing sun for like 2 hours, and I would pass by them online, and I'd be like, it's totally worth it. It is totally worth getting sunstroke. I just went on it 15 times. Because if you're disabled, you get to cut the lines at Disney. And when I was a kid, I truly believed that the teacups could heal me. If you've never been on the teacups, it's a ride that spins around really fast. And every time I rode it, I would walk off and walk straight for almost 6 minutes. I was like, it really is magic. But then it all went bad. A bunch of parents, and guys, you can look this up online, it's sadly true. A bunch of parents decided to start hiring disabled people so they could cut the lines at Disney. And they got caught. And now nobody's allowed to cut the lines at Disney. It's no longer the happiest place on earth. And I just wish I could have been one of these tour guides, because I would have made it a teachable moment. I would have taken the kids aside from their parents and just had a little conversation. I would have looked at them and I would have said, kids, Mommy and Daddy did a very, very bad thing, and you're just one little accident away from being just like me. So hold on tight. Now, who wants to go on Space Mountain? Gotta tell you a little bit about my mom and dad. My mom looks like Julia Roberts, and my father looks like Saddam Hussein. And the way they met is so beautiful. And I think there's a stereotype out there that people don't think of Palestinians as being romantic. They think of rocks. But my parents, it's such a beautiful story. I wish they would do a Lifetime movie. They're first cousins. Yeah, my father swears to God that he knew the first time he ever saw my mom. And I said to him, Daddy, how did you know that mommy was the one? And he said, your grandfather, he told me. And so when I was born, I was the youngest of 4 girls. And my dad and mom didn't think that God was going to bless them with another female child. They were like, no, we're too lucky. It has to be a boy. So they only had picked out a boy's name, and it was very original. I don't think you've ever heard it. It was Muhammad. And so when I came out as a girl, they didn't have any other idea, so they decided to name me Muhammadiyah, the female version of Muhammad. Now, Muhammad is a great name. It's the name of a prophet, but being named Muhammadiyah is like being named Smurfette. Luckily, the doctors told them that I might not make it through the night. And my parents didn't want to waste such a great name on an angel baby. So instead, they named me Maysoon, which means lemur, as in little monkey. So my parents named their brown, fuzzy, shaking baby Monkey, and I lived. The doctors also told my parents that I would never walk. Now, I want to be very clear. There is no shame in not walking or using any mobility device that you feel increases your independence. So often we see the phrase wheelchair bound. People are not bound to their wheelchairs. They are wheelchair users. And the image of being bound is restrictive. Believe it or not, I know it's hard for the temporarily able to understand this, but that's right. You're just one little accident away from me and me. To understand that mobility devices can be freeing, not restrictive. What allows them to be freeing is accessibility, right? So in my case, I was born before ADA. Cinnamon don't crack, I look good. I was born before ADA, and my parents really wanted me to learn how to walk because it was very important that they mainstream me, and because we spent our school days in New Jersey and our summers in a war zone because my dad was afraid that if he didn't send us back to Palestine every year, we'd grow up to be Britney Spears. So he wanted me to be mobile. And he had 2 ways of teaching me how to walk. The first was he would place my feet on his feet and he would just walk. I walked miles on that man's shoes. His other strategy was to take a dollar bill and dangle it in front of me. Let me tell you, my inner stripper was so strong that I was running in stilettos by kindergarten. I grew up in Cliffside Park, New Jersey, so my disability and my hometown have the same initials. It's like CP is haunting me. When I pass by a California pizza kitchen, I'm like, no, enough. But I grew up in a town that was very, very diverse. There were 33,000 Italian Catholics and 6 Arabs who were all my family. Now the town has evolved, and there's 33,000 Italian Catholics and 20 Arabs who are still all my family. But I was never bullied. I was never treated as an other. I don't think people even knew that we were an Italian. I mean, look at me. I look like the Lost Kardashian. I could be anything. But I've had the same best friend since I was 5 years old. And after I did my TED Talk in 2014, which, as Janelle pointed out, was the #1 TED Talk, that means a disabled brown shaky chick beat out every white male. So look who's got the privilege now. Check it. I love my white males. They've given me my best opportunities. Keith Olbermann and Adam Sandler represent. So, anywho, After I did the TED Talk, I was fascinated by the number of emails I got from students with disabilities, as young as 4th grade and as old as college and master's students. And they had a recurring theme. And the recurring theme was that they were bullied day and night. These kids would go to school, they found no one to play with, no one was kind to them, they were often mocked, and then when they got home, they were mocked online. This is not the experience that I had as a child. I have had the same 7 best friends since I was 5 years old. And my friends weren't always the sharpest tool in the shed. So my best friend Tina, she never understood the Palestinian thing. And every single year when my dad would send us back, she would ask me the same question. Are you scared? Are you scared to go to Pakistan? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm terrified of Pakistan, which is why I'm going to Jerusalem. And then I thought of it, and I was like, I'm not afraid of the Holy Land. I'm afraid of going to the airport. And here is why. Because when I board a plane, security sees an Arab trying to board a plane. And you're like, Maysoon, you just said you could be the lost Kardashian. How do they know you're Arab? I will tell you how they know. I have the kind of facial hair that no waxing in the world can deal with. So when I walk into an airport, they see an Arab. But they don't just see an Arab, they see a shaking Arab. And they're like, that chick is nervous. And my dad likes to drop me off, which is great because I save money on the super shuttle. But as I mentioned, he looks like Saddam Hussein. So now I'm a shaking Arab being dropped off by Saddam Hussein. And they're like, he's not dead yet. He got better. And my dad doesn't know how to say bye. He must invoke the name of Allah at all times. So now I'm a shaking Arab being dropped off by Saddam Hussein while he screams, Allah ma'ach, Allah yakhdij, Allah jawzij. And before you can say jihad, which is not a word you should ever say in an airport under any circumstances, I'm on the next plane to Guantanamo Bay, which might not be that bad because I hear there are a lot of hot single Arab men. But my friends never bullied me. They always included me. They included me even when they shouldn't. Like when we turned 18, I became the designated driver for every single one of my friends because Muslims don't drink, or at least we don't admit to it on social media. And so my friends were like, Maysoon, you be the designated driver because, you know, you're Muslim and you don't drink. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And every single time the police pulled me over, it was the same damn story. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that word. Oh, not that word either. Okay, wait. So every time I got pulled over, the police would look at me and they would say, ma'am, are you drunk? And I'd be like, I am not drunk. I am differently abled. And they would look at Tina, who would be like slumped in the front seat with like vomit stuck across her face. And they'd be like, excuse me, is she drunk? And Tina would be like, she's not drunk. She's a Mohammedan. What? What? What does that even mean? We're going to talk when you're sober, which is never. And then they would look at me and they would say, okay, ma'am, I'm going to need you to walk a straight line. And I'm like, can I just do the alphabet backwards, please? So in my case, it was funny, but it's something to really think about. How often has law enforcement been in a situation with someone who has a disability who can't comply? And what is our job as community members to protect those people? How often has someone who's deaf had a police officer scream, hands up? How about me? If they're following me and they say hands up, it's funny when I'm talking to you on stage, but the reality is I can't comply. So what situation are people with disabilities in? And what situation are your students in when you're in a college that often has students who are commuting, who are dealing with all these different things. Is this something that we could work together with our community to make sure that the students on this campus feel safe, to make sure that those who don't have the ability to comply are not incriminated for simply not being able to comply? So, my dad had a mantra, and his mantra was, "You can do it, yes you can." And he convinced me that I could do anything I put my heart to. And my dream, like any other Muslim chick raised in New Jersey, was to be on the daytime soap opera General Hospital. I wanted to be on General Hospital, so I went to Arizona State University to study theater. And the reason that I chose Arizona State was not because of the weather, but because I went to school during something called affirmative action, and I got like a mega scholarship. Because apparently when they got my application, they were able to check every single box in one human being. They were like, disabled, check, colored, check, female, check, yes! You know, and I was single, so I could be LGBTQ easily. They were like, check, we'll just check it. And so when I got into Arizona State University, the admissions officer called me because we predated email. She called me, and I will never forget this phone call. She said, "Maysoon, we had always looked for a black lesbian in a wheelchair, and then we found you." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're gonna give me so much money." So I went, and I was like the pet lemur of the theater department. Everybody loved me. I got A's in all of my classes. I got A's in all the other actors' classes. They needed me. And when I would do a scene from The Glass Menagerie, my professors would weep openly. But I never got cast in any of the shows. And I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, how am I getting an A in acting, but I can't play girl number 3 in Milltown? This is mind-boggling. So my senior year, totally true story, Arizona State University decides to do a show called They Dance Real Slow in Jackson. It's about a girl with cerebral palsy. I'm a girl with cerebral palsy. So I was like, free at last! Free at last! I'm finally gonna get a part. I'm free at last. I didn't get the part. Sherry Brown got the part. And so I went running. Okay, I went limping. I went limping to the head of the theater department. And I was like, "Excuse me, this is a role that I was literally born to play. And I am using the word literally correctly in this sentence." And she said to me, "Well, we felt like you couldn't do the stunts." And I'm like, if I can't do the stunts, neither can the character. College was imitating Hollywood. Hollywood has a sordid past of casting able-bodied actors to play disabled on screen. And we in the disability community believe that visible disability, much like race, cannot be played. So I say, if a wheelchair user can't play Beyonce, then Beyonce can't play a wheelchair user. People with disabilities are the largest minority in the world, and we are the least represented on American television. If you turn on your TV right now and look at any morning show or talk show, anything that hits the screen between 6:30 a.m. and 3 p.m., you will not find a single visibly disabled anchor or host. You will not find a single visibly disabled cartoon on children's television, Muppet on Sesame Street. We are nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Why is it then that when people choose to talk about diversity, they leave out the largest minority? And you can clap for that. In 2010, I got my big break. I got a phone call to be on a TV show called Countdown with Keith Olbermann. It was a cable news show on MSNBC, 8 p.m. prime time. It was big. So I did like big hair, don't care. I'm going to the prom. I'm ready for my close-up Mr. Olbermann. And I walk into the studio and they sit me down on a rolling, spinning chair. So I look at the stage manager and I'm like, excuse me, can I please have a more stable chair? And she looked at me and went, 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're doing it live. So I make my live television debut sitting and spinning on a chair on national television, trying desperately not to roll off the screen. Because if you've ever watched these cable news shows, it's a tight box. And I'm like, I'm here. No, seriously, I've got this, please. So when I was done, I was livid. I had spent a decade trying to prove that people with disabilities could do the same job as their able-bodied counterparts, and I blew it. And I knew that I would never get invited back. But not only did Keith Olbermann invite me back, he made me a full-time contributor, and he taped it down my chair. So when I got home, I did what any egomaniacal actress would do, and all actresses are egomaniacal. It's like hand in glove kind of stuff, or mitten in my case. So I Googled myself, and I was so shocked because America was playing a game of guess what's wrong with her. Mr. Olbermann and I had never discussed my disability. It simply wasn't the topic at hand. We were talking about politics. We were discussing the candidates who were running in 2012. And so seldom do we see a person with a disability talking about anything other than their disability. The audience had no idea how to react. So when I went online, they were guessing what's wrong with me. Wrong. Not what she has, what's she living with, what is wrong with her. And they were writing stuff like, it looks like Botox gone wrong. Is she retarded? I got that one about 10 times. It's fascinating to me that people online still do not understand that the R word is a slur. And that so often when people ask, they are sincerely asking if I am retarded, and they don't even know what that word means. It's inappropriate to use it for intellectual disabilities, it's inappropriate to use it for Down syndrome, and it's inappropriate to use it in general as a slur towards people with disabilities. And if you're on the team of, I use the word retard to say stopping a fire, fine, take it. If you need it, take it. Not only do we not see visible disability on television, but we also have no idea how many people on screen have invisible disabilities. Why? Because the stigma against invisible disabilities is so powerful that people, even the greatest celebrities with the most secure jobs, fear disclosing things like chronic pain, fibromyalgia, depression, mental health issues. Jamie Lynn Sigler was diagnosed with MS, and she hid it for 10 years. A star from The Sopranos, a star in Entourage, someone who should have no fear, hid their disability for 10 years. So how do we get a community of students to admit that they identify as disabled? Why do the numbers of students that we have registered with Disabled Student Services simply not reflect the portion of society that we know have disabilities? Why? There's 3 separate reasons. 1, these are kids who have had their parents advocate for them for the past 18 years. Some of them have parents who stifled them and made their life one big disability experiment, dragging them from therapies to counseling sessions, going to their school and making a big deal. And they come here and they do not know how to advocate for themselves. They do not want to be labeled as an other. and they do not want to be stigmatized. You are the first line of defense, and you need to internalize something. When people ask for help, they do not want to. They do not want to. When I became a guest comedian at Arizona State University, I made my triumphant return 20 years after they danced real slow in Jackson. And I was sitting in the club, fancy schmancy club, and there was a table of professors next to me complaining about the accommodations that students asked for. And one of the professors said, she wants me to send her notes. And another professor said, she insists on live captioning. And there's someone in the room typing every single word I say. And any mistake I make is now being recorded. And I walked up to the table, and they didn't know that I was sitting behind them. And I gave them my business card, and I said to them, do you understand how difficult it is to ask for help? Has that ever been you? Were you ever afraid that if you asked for help, you would lose the job? You would be given a worse grade because the professor didn't want to accommodate you? It's a lot of work. Disability is not a monolith. We're not all the same, and we don't have all of the same needs. So we're asking you guys for a lot, but just know nobody asks unless they need it. They're not being lazy. It's an accommodation, and it's your job under the law to accommodate them. Now it's time to be funny again. Where are my married people at? Single people. Married? Single. Divorced. Always the happiest, always the happiest, small but mighty. So when I turned 33, I decided to get married, and I have a lot to talk to you guys about. I didn't know that people don't realize that people with disabilities aren't just snow angel happy babies that never grow up, and that we actually have relationships. So when I got engaged and I told people I was engaged, instead of saying congratulations, they always went, really? So let me just clarify this whole thing. I waited to get married because marriage is an overhyped game, and people who are married try to trap you into their dark world. They throw a party, there's all these gifts, and you're like, yeah, I want to spend 50 years with someone who grinds their teeth while they sleep. Yes, I never want to have a good night's rest again. So I would have married this guy named Mike if my dad would have let me marry a non-Palestinian. Now, here's the thing. My dad didn't care what religion they were. Mormon, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, he didn't care, as long as they were Palestinian, because he's convinced that we're this disappearing tribe and that I had to marry one of my own. And this is a man who literally taught me how to walk. And he said if I didn't marry a Palestinian, he'd throw himself off the George Washington Bridge. And I had seen a lot of episodes of Law and Order, and I couldn't bear the image of them fishing him out all bloated and stuff. So that was one of the motivators for getting married. But the other motivator was a really big one. I had been a bridesmaid 17 times, and I had spent $28,000 on my friends' weddings. So I was like, I need to make my money back. So now I needed to catch a husband, and I couldn't do what my parents did because I am way too disabled to inbreed. Sit with it. We're back. And then I couldn't go on Match.com because typing is not my thing. So I was like, where can a 33-year-old palsy chick catch a husband? You guys want to know where I caught my husband? I'm like a seal. Do you want to know where I caught my husband? I went to Gaza. You want to know why I went to Gaza? Because they got no place to run. I took my American passport and I framed it in a big gold frame, and I walked through the refugee camp going, you want a visa, baby? And my husband was like, yeah. So I'm like, pack up your stuff, let's go. And he's like, I have no stuff. So then I had a problem because I wanted to have a great engagement story like all of my friends. And my friend Tina had this amazing story. She was like, he wrote, "I love you" on a Scrabble board. And then we went up in a hot air balloon and it exploded and it wrote, "Will you marry me?" And as we plummeted to our deaths, our parachutes opened and he slid a Neil Lane diamond on my finger. And I was like, I don't have the coordination for any of that. I can't do that. So I needed a story, so I bought a ring for the starving refugee to give me because he's a starving refugee. Where's he getting a diamond, right? And so I bought him a ring, and then I showed him the season finale of The Bachelor. And I was like, this is how you propose, but you don't leave me 2 weeks later. And you have to surprise me. And then I waited a week, 2 weeks, and then I was like, man, he stole the ring. And then I was crossing a checkpoint, and I see him on the other side going like this. And I'm like, great, now they're going to shoot him, and I'm never going to get the ring. What am I going to do? Excuse me while I loot this body. Just 1 second. And then he held out the ring, and everything disappeared. And I was like, oh my God, it's that moment. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he went, here, take it. And I went, yes, he speaks English. So I get home and now I have a problem. And the problem is Arab girls don't date, we get married. And if you don't believe me, look at what happened to George Clooney. So I went to Palestine basically single, and I came back married. And instead of having a bridal shower, my friends staged an intervention. And my friend Tina met me at the door with a piece of paper, and she goes, Maysoon, the decisions you are making are affecting both you and us. And I am here to tell you that you are a free American woman, and you do not, I repeat, you do not have to have an arranged marriage. And I was like, Tina, I arranged it. So right after you get married, something happens. And what happens is people start constantly asking you if you're pregnant. And I have the kind of belly that permanently looks pregnant. So I was at the United Nations the other day, and this woman put her hand on my stomach, and she goes, oh my God, when are you due? You look like you're about to pop. And I was like, yeah, I'm about to pop you in the face right now, you bitch. No, you must never use the word bitch. I need everyone in this room to ban bitch from your vocabulary. This is not a word that we need to take back. It is misogynistic and it is something that we need to stop using. And I know that it's really hard to stop using words. And as a third worlder, as someone who has performed in the Middle East, uncovered and uncensored, I don't believe in censorship. So I'm not asking you to censor yourself. I'm asking you to understand that words matter and to use your words. So because I know it's hard to stop using a word like bitch, I have come up with an alternative word. And I'm going to teach it to you today. It's like my fetch, my fleek, and I want you to start using this. Instead of saying bitch, say the word popple. P-O-P-P-L-E, popple. For those of you who don't know what a popple is, it's a stuffed animal from the late 80s that had the ability to stick its head in its butt and it would become a ball. And it's the perfect replacement word, right? Because you're like, popple, please. And they're like, please, what? What'd she just call me? And then you're like, why are you being such a basic popple? And they're like, I don't know. Or if you're really angry, you're like, bow down, popple, bow down, popple. And what you're saying is stick your head in your ass and roll out of here. But nobody got the pregnancy thing less than my mother-in-law. And man, let me tell you something. If you get suckered into the marriage thing, you find yourself an orphan, because the rest of these people come with families. I feel really bad for my mother-in-law. My husband, I saw you. My husband has been in America for 5 years. And my mother-in-law has never been allowed to visit him because she's on the terror watch list because I put her there. It's not a false report. She terrorizes me. We taught her how to use Skype, which she calls Skypey. And every time she calls me on the Skype, she asks the same question. Are you pregnant? And I say to her, we explained to you when I got married, if I get pregnant, I will drop dead like Shelby from Steel Magnolias. This is not a CP thing, it's a Maysoon thing. Apparently it kills me. And Shelby has this great line where she says, I would rather have a moment of joy than a lifetime of nothing. I'm like, I'll take the lifetime. I'll take right here, lifetime, yes. So me and my husband are gonna adopt. Round of applause for adoption. And I'm super excited because I'm gonna get one that's like 3 or 4 years old and fully trained. Like goes potty and eats and stuff. So no, I'm gonna be a great mom, I swear. So my mother-in-law will not grasp this concept. So every time she calls on Skype, she asks me the same question. Are you pregnant? Is there a bun in the oven? And I say to her, I have repeatedly told you, if I get pregnant, I will die. And do you know what her response is? Oh, just try once. The world is broken, but we can fix it. We can fix it by saying no. Say no to arming violence worldwide, and say no to violence against women. It is not okay that I feel safer walking by myself at 2 a.m. in a war zone than I do on an American college campus. Say no to being an internet bully, and say no to raising a bully. If you feel the need to go online and hate someone who has no effect on your life, I beg you instead, Google funny kittens, it's worth it. And say no to being silenced. Your voice is your weapon against inequality. I beg you, use it. My name is Maysoon Zayed, and if I can, Southwestern College, you can. Thank you.
Maysoon Zayed. Thank you all so much for joining us for this convocation. Please make your way to your breakout stations, and we'll see you at 12:40 for lunch. Thank you.
Please make your way to breakout sessions. Once again, please make your way to breakout sessions. Thank you.